John Rich called me and he said, "Hey man, just letting you know I ain't doing no TV interview." And I said, Who do you think you're talking to right now?"
All right, we are in here for another episode of Drifting Cowboy. You might hear a little background noise, a little talking, because we are
A little chitter chatter.
in Craig Campbell's coffee shop, the Grindstone Cowboy. How'd you get in the coffee business?
Man, short. It's a long story, but I'll try to keep it short. I had Grindstone Cowboy, the name. I had it, and I had it trademarked, and I just thought, man, that'd be a great name for a coffee shop. And one day I was at the airport and I saw the line at that one coffee shop, the one, and it just made me think. It's like, good Lord, there's some people standing in line for an hour for coffee. I said, what's this all about? So, and it just said, just made me think maybe I should open one, and that. So then I started going down the rabbit hole of researching and finding out how to do it and try to make it successful, and here we are.
Yeah, everybody needs their morning fix.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, Grindstone Cowboy, that's a clever name. When I first came here, it's been a few months back, I was like, man, I wish I'd have thought of that.
I thought, and I always had the idea that if somewhere down the road we could take the song Rhinestone Cowboy and change the lyrics and create a really cool jingle.
Yeah, jingle.
And reach it. And so when we were about to open this place, and I got the emails I could show you, the guy that wrote Rhinestone Cowboy reached out to a lady that did an article on us opening.
Larry Weiss?
Yes. Do you know him?
I don't know him. I know his name just from writing the song.
So I thought, man, this is gonna be cool. This is, he's probably thinking the same thing I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Negative.
Oh, really?
Dude was sour, very sour, and accused me of what did he call me? I don't deal with. I don't set. He called me some name on email, but it just hit me the wrong way, and so from then on, like, that's the only song you can't play here. Nobody can play that song in here.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that seemed like a missed opportunity on it.
I thought for sure, we would create some sort of jingle. We could write it together, and obviously it'd bring another light to his catalog, his song. And no, he wasn't having it. He was not happy.
Yeah. Well, Craig, I want to hear about your music career and how you got into music.
Oh man, I will go all the way back. Started playing the piano when I was a little boy, and just super intrigued with piano, and so I played piano for my church for years.
Yeah,
and then just singing in church, and then just I always felt like it was something I was good at.
Yeah,
and another long story short, I didn't, after graduating high school, I knew for a fact I didn't want to continue any more school.
Yeah.
I was done with that.
Yeah.
And I had a girlfriend, and we talked about getting married and building a house and all the domestic stuff, and so to do that, I had to get a job. So I was a correctional officer for about 2.5 years, right out of high school. And I realized super quick that was not what I wanted to do for a living. And I was talking to another songwriter. Well, at the time he was an artist, and he was playing in a bar in our hometown. His name's Mr. Oglesby, and I was talking to him, and he was playing at that local bar. And I said, "What else? What do you do for like a living?" He's like, "This is it." I said, "What?" He said, "Yeah, this is my job." I said, "This is all you do? And this is how you pay your bills?" He said, "Yeah." So the light went off. I said, "I'm gonna figure this out."
Yeah.
And so from then on, man, that's all I wanted to do was play music and pay my bills. And so that I put a band together and started playing regionally in Georgia. And then we got us a little booking agent and was doing all over the United States. And then I had a buddy that lived here, and he called me one day and he said, "Man, I need a roommate." He said, "If I can get you a job up here, will you move up here to Nashville?" I said, "In a second." So he got me a job, and I moved, and we were roommates for a little while. That was in 2002. And again, still my journey only consisted of playing music and paying my bills. So even in Nashville, I wasn't like looking for a record deal. I wasn't looking for any of that. I just wanted to be surrounded by people like me. And so I started playing on Lower Broadway. And then, I'm being a piano player. It opened up a lot of doors for me because I was able to go out and make a living playing music. Might not have been singing, but I was playing music. So I played piano I got hired to play for Luke Bryan. And that was a great relationship from the get-go. Even though he hadn't signed a record deal at that time, but he was like, "Dude, I'm gonna introduce you to everybody I know." And you could probably chase all of my success back to that. He introduced me to this person, who introduced me to this person, and then this. Like, it's just the seed was planted. Then I played piano for Tracy Byrd for about a year and a half, 2 years. And then all the while just playing Lower Broadway, writing songs, singing demos for other songwriters. And then I was playing in a bar on Lower Broadway, a place called The Stage. And there was a bartender there. Her name was Kimmy. And she was dating a guy in the music business. And she's like, "Hey, you need to come see this guy." And that was in 2007. And then for about a year and a half, he would come see me every Tuesday night because I had a residency, kind of, if you will, at the Stage, played every Tuesday night. And he came to see me for a solid year or so straight. And then out of nowhere, he's like, "Hey, we're about to open a record label. We want you to be our guy." And I said, "I don't kid me now." He's like, "No, I'm serious." He said, and he my partner, Keith Stegall, I said, "Wait a minute, hold on. Keith Stegall he's like, "Yeah, and he didn't even know this, but I always dreamed of working with Keith.
Yeah.
My whole life, or my adult career, looking at when you open up a book.
Yeah.
And I saw all these records that he produced that I loved. And I was like, good, this is, you couldn't dream it up that way. And so that was in 2008. I signed with Bigger Picture in 2009, went into the studio with Stegall, and we cut my first record, and Family Man came out in 2010, and the rest is history.
I had no idea that you worked with Keith.
Yeah, Keith produced my first record, and we actually co-wrote a song on that record called "You Probably Ain't." That you'd probably love that song. And then he co-produced my second record, the one with Out of My Head, Keep Them Kisses Coming, with Matt Rovey. And then that's the only records we worked together on. But he was my guy.
Yeah, a legend for anybody.
Super legend.
Listening that don't know. I mean, produced just about everything Alan Jackson ever did, and wrote a lot for Alan. God, what else? He wrote Hurricane, that was cut by Levon Helm, and then the band The Heathens made popular.
Well, let me tell you this, bro. I was, and I'm still finding out stuff about him that I didn't know. The one big like pop hit he had was going, "We're in this love together."
Yeah.
And then I was with him. We had started negotiating the deal, and I hadn't signed with him yet, but he invited me to come watch him sing. He was playing at the Blue Room. This was a long time ago. And he's up there and he's singing, "Dallas packed her suitcase, drove on," and I'm like, oh my God, And then he commences to writing this one or singing this one song, and he talks about how he was a little tipsy when he wrote it, and then he started picking, and Stegall's got a way of writing or singing songs that don't sound like the version
Yeah.
It's just he puts his own thing on it. So then he starts playing, and he said, "I was sitting at a table," and my mouth hit the floor because that's one of my favorite songs of all time. Old Keith Whitley tune, And after the show, I went up to him and said, "Man, that song, that's one of my favorites." And he's like, "I appreciate it." And then he tells me this story of how Keith Whitley cut that song and had called him and said, "Hey man, we cut your song and I can't wait to play it for you." And so Keith was like, "That's cool." He said, "When I get back to town, we'll get together and come by and let me play you this song." And he said Keith passed away before he could play it for him.
Oh man.
And that's just one of them stories, man. You know, it's pretty wild.
Yeah. I'm friends with Gary Gentry, the songwriter. I bring him up just about every podcast. People listening is probably like, man, he talks about Gary all the time. But he wrote The Ride and 59 and the one I loved back then, all those songs. And he was telling me that he was a bad alcoholic. And
Gary was? Or?
Yeah,
okay.
Gary was. He was a bad alcoholic back in the day and on drugs and stuff. But he got clean in the 80s.
Okay.
And went to rehab and all that. And man, the name's slipping my mind, but I guess it was Keith's manager called Gary and wanted to have a meeting with him, which Gary thought was weird. You know, never met with this guy before, but he goes into his office and said that he was asking him questions about how he got sober and stuff, and was plumb teary-eyed. And Gary thought it was weird, but he told him, you know, how he got sober and went about it and stuff, and went about his day, and said 2 weeks later Keith Whitley died, and he figured that's why he called him in there. He was trying to help Keith, you know.
Wow.
And man, what a loss that was.
Yeah, and I have often thought about, you know, the career that I've had, and I'm in no way comparing myself to Keith Whitley, but I think, you'll see where I'm going with this is, you know, Family Man came out in 2010. It peaked in 2011, so roughly 14 years that I've been commercially successful. Keith Whitley only had 3 years.
Yeah.
Of being on the radio to when he passed away. Man, can you imagine what would have happened if he'd still been, if he was still here? Like the trail he blazed without even being around, to be only alive for 3 years but I mean, obviously his career has transcended his passing. You know, he's that the music he was making, it was just so when I think about what could have been,
Yeah,
it's crazy.
because he only came out with what, 2 or 3 albums,
Yeah,
total. Of course, we have the demos. We're lucky to have those.
but you know, and even then, you could tell, like from the first, some of the first stuff you heard to the Don't Close Your Eyes project, he sonically was getting it dialed in really good. Because I mean, some of that early stuff is like he ain't quite got it figured out, but voice was there and the songs were there. It's just, you know, the sound of the records were changing.
Right.
And yeah, it's amazing what could have been.
Yeah, I think about guys like that all the time. Keith and Hank and Mel Street, you know, all these guys that died at the very peak. Well, probably not even the peak.
Yeah, they even haven't peaked. Because I mean,
Yeah.
if you think, I mean, I also, talking about myself, my voice, I feel like my voice didn't really come to like a full rounded product until, I mean, my late 30s, early, even now. Like, I feel like now I'm singing as good as I've ever sang, if not better. So yeah, Hank and all shoot, they were just getting started, man.
Yeah.
Just getting started.
Well, you talked about being out on the road with Luke Bryan and Tracy Byrd in those old days. How was that?
So Luke, you know, Luke is Luke, and he's always been that way, even before he signed his record deal. And the way that got hooked up is there was a fellow songwriter buddy of ours named Galen Griffin. He was buddies with Luke, and they had written some songs, and he had heard Luke needed a piano player, so he threw my name in the hat. And he said, "You'll love this guy." He said, he's another Georgia boy. You guys will hit it off. And we did. We hit it. And Luke, to this day, one of the funniest dudes I've ever been around.
Yeah.
And so played with Luke for a little while, and that was fun. And even back then, this is like, before he signed his deal, I knew he was going to be something. You could tell. He had that. Just he was going to be something.
Yeah.
And so that was a lot of fun. And it's crazy to think when I was with Luke, we were traveling around in a Chevy Avalanche, pulling a U-Haul trailer with all of our gear. And now he's however many buses and semis and all that.
Yeah.
Now Tracy was a different thing, because I grew up listening to Tracy.
Yeah.
And my wife was best friends with a lady that would house sit for Tracy's tour manager. And again, he made mention that Tracy was looking for a piano player, so she threw my name in the hat, and I met with the band leader and the tour manager at Longhorn Steakhouse. And they gave me a CD and said, learn these songs, and we got 3 shows. If you come out with us and we like you, then you get the gig. If you don't, at least you came out and played 3 shows and made some money. And I was like, cool. So picked up that gig and no rehearsal, no nothing. I just had to woodshed and learn the songs. And so we get there first night doing the show, and I'm up there so proud of myself and I'm, from my point of view, I'm crushing it. I'm playing everything like I feel like the record. So then he encores with a Ricky Skaggs song. Oh shoot, what was the name of the song? Let me think.
Heartbroke.
Yeah, Heartbroke. And I knew it. I'm like,
Old Guy Clark too.
so I'm in there, buddy, and I'm like smiling because I'm like, okay, you can't stump me, buddy. So then at the end of the song is so that's what I did. Little did I know that they took one of those bumps at the end off. It's like boom. So I did. So I'm the only one. They left me out there to dry, and I'm looking silly, and everybody's just laughing, but they all knew that I didn't know. But playing with Tracy was a lot of fun. I learned a lot. Tracy was great with his fans. He still is. And Tracy's still a great singer. And it just class, I learned a lot how to treat your fans, how to put on a good show, how to let the music do the job, kind of thing. And so I'll always cherish the time I was out there on the road with Tracy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to tell you something, because I want to know if you've ever got this before. The way you talk, you sound like you're from South Louisiana. Have you ever got that?
When I first moved to town, I got it all the time. The way I talk has changed a little bit since I've lived here. But when I first got to town, it was. I mean, I got asked if I was a coon ass all the time, and I didn't hear it. I grew up in South Georgia, and it didn't. But just when I was singing demos for other songwriters, and when you're singing a song that somebody else wrote, they will tell you, hey, say it like this or sing it like this. And so I got coached a lot in the studio, which I think ultimately changed the way I talk a little bit. So, I mean, you can go back and listen to some interviews from way back when. It's a lot worse back then. But yeah, I mean, you're not the first one to say it. I haven't heard it in a long time.
It's fun. Well, I'm from South Louisiana.
Okay.
And the first time I met you and heard you talk, I can't remember who I was with. But afterwards, I was like, is Craig from Louisiana? And I was like, no, he's Georgia. I said, man, he sounded like
I did.
my neck of the woods.
Man, I used to get it all the time. And I was like, I don't know where that's coming from, but I guess, some people thought I sounded like I was from South LA.
Well, anyway, so you got your record deal, and was Family Man your first single? Big single?
Yeah. Family Man was first. Family Man, I think, was probably the song that got me my record deal. Like ultimately,
really?
like that's the one they kind of came in, and there was a handful of songs. There was that song. There was a song called My Little Cowboy, and then a song Fish that I think collectively they came in because they wanted to see if I had a song to back up, and so when they would come watch me, they fell in love with those three songs, and so yeah, A Family Man was when we went into the studio. We didn't think it was going to be a first single until Keith got it and got it back and had mixed it and was listening to it, and I remember clear as day. I was in the office one day and he just knocks on the door and sticks his head in. He said, "I think we got it." And so we all went into the room and he played Family Man, and we were like, "Okay, let's go."
Yeah.
And plus, it made sense to me too on the like introduction part of it, because I was not gonna be like, what did I want the country music audience to know about me? That they've, this would be the first time they meet Craig. Who do you want them to know you are? And Family Man was perfect.
Yeah, it's a wonderful song. I love that song. Was there ever a moment for you? I was talking to Joe Nichols 2 days ago, and he was talking about how he got denied 31 times because he'd go in and sing a song and they tell him it was too country or whatever. Was there ever a moment that they, record label or something, tried to mold you into something that you didn't want to be?
Yeah, and it's always my first record. So I never did up until signing with Bigger Picture. I never had like hardcore meetings with record labels. Let's just say I wasn't. Record labels weren't beating down my door, But Bigger Picture, I do remember being when from my first record to my second record, they wanted to change the image, my image, and they wanted to brand me as the Southern gentleman. I don't know where that idea came from, but at the time, I'm like, okay, let's roll with it. I don't mind wearing a nice pair of pants but then it didn't work.
Yeah.
And I should have put my foot down and said, that's not me. Even though I was willing to try it, I tried it and I was like, yeah, this ain't gonna work.
Yeah.
When I signed with Broken Bow, I wouldn't say they were trying to. Yes, yeah, I will say they were. There were times when they would, I wouldn't say force me to sing songs or record songs, but they would have that tone of you'll do it or you know what I mean, like,
yeah,
or you'll be put on a shelf kind of tone is what I heard. So there were songs that I recorded that I didn't want to record at all, and to the couple of songs too that I actually just, hate's a strong word, but I didn't like them at all.
Yeah.
And that happened several times over at Broken Bow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you wrote one of my all-time favorite songs, "Outskirts of Heaven." Such a beautiful song that I think a lot of folks like myself relate to.
Yeah.
Where was your head at when you wrote that one?
Man, that you talking about change and trying to get the record label didn't love that song.
Really?
Like, they loved it as a great Bluebird song. You know what I mean? Like, a great song you sing at a songwriter's round. They were like, is it a commercial hit? That's all they're worried about back then.
Yeah.
So, and to be honest with you, when I wrote that song, I even told my co-writer Dave Turnbull, I said, man, I got to write this song, and I said, I'm not thinking about radio. I just got to get this song off my heart. And so we wrote it. I wrote it from just a perspective of, like, I grew up kind of like here, Eagleville. I grew up in a super, super small town, and
Yeah.
And when you read the Bible, it talks about heaven and how, well, the vision that I had of heaven was very big city.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know that I want to live downtown heaven. Surely heaven has, you know, a rural section. And I was like, that's where I want to be. And so that's where that song came from. And we wrote it, and I started playing it live. And I remember being in South Carolina. I was doing a charity event with Darius Rucker and Charles Kelly. And I did that song. It was in December 2015. We hadn't recorded it yet. And I played that song and got a standing ovation. And it was the only standing ovation of the night. And you thinking about Darius Rucker playing hit after hit after hit.
Yeah.
And Charles Kelly, Lady A, playing hit after, and I'm over here. I had Family Man and Keep Them Kisses Coming. You know, I had a couple of songs, but so that meant a lot to me for that to happen. And so I immediately walked off stage, and then my radio rep was there. I said, "You saw that, didn't you?" And she's like, "Yeah." I said, "You need to have my back when I go talk to the record label." And so I went back and I said, "Guys, I don't know what's happening with this song, but something's happening, and we need to run with it." And I remember the head of the label, he's like, "Okay, let's do it." And he's like, "Let's just hope it downloads." And I frustrated me to no end, dude. But they let me cut it, and we put it out.
It's such a good song. I mean, one that's still has legs. I mean, I hear people covering it all the time. I know when I get together with buddies and we play music, that one someone always plays it.
I'm super proud of it, man, and I think that song's going to live a long time.
Yeah,
yeah,
I do too.
I truly think somebody's going to cut it somewhere down the road, like, and make it a hit, like I think somebody's going to get a hold of it.
I was shocked when I found out, because when you did it, it got up to, what was it, 23 or something like that on the chart?
Yeah, 24.
Which
that in the chart world, that's terrible.
That shocked me, because I'm like, man, but then again, we know how the chart world works.
But yeah, and think about that, dude. Think about, like, you thinking it was a bigger hit. Just imagine if it was a hit, how that song could have changed my life.
Yeah.
And it did. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I'm very proud of what happened and how that song was consumed and people loving it the way they love it. But man, just imagine what had it went all the way. I mean, it'd have been something else.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, earlier this year, I went to your, it was back in the summer, your cornhole competition.
Yeah.
And I didn't really know much about it. Grayson, he's a good friend of mine.
Right.
He was participating in it, and I went with him. I didn't know that you had this foundation and stuff, so I want to learn more about that.
Yeah. So when I first, we'll go back. My dad, he was 36 years old when he died with colon cancer. So I was a kid. I was 11, and when I moved to town, and I thought maybe getting a record deal and having a song on the radio, you have some sort of platform. I said, what is going to be my charity? So I teamed up in the beginning with TJ Martell, and then I asked them, I said, "Where's this money going?" They said, "To cancer research." And I said, "What cancer?" And they said, "Like all cancers." And I'm like, "Okay. Well, I want it to go specifically to colorectal cancer." And they're like, "Well, we can't guarantee that the money's going to go to one division." Like, I said, "Well, okay, I'm going to find somebody that can." So then I teamed up with Fight Colorectal Cancer. And I worked with them for 8 years. And then finally I was like, man, still, where's this money going? And I believe them. And I know Fight Colorectal Cancer was doing great things. I said, but I want to know exactly where this money's going. So me and my manager, Maddie, had the idea of cranking our own 501c3 charity, and we named it the Kenny Campbell Foundation after my dad. And even then I said, where's this money? Where am I going to send this money?
Yeah.
And one day I met a guy. He came up on my bus and we talked and we hit it off. And something got brought up about, hey man, you know, if you ever need any parts for your car, I'm your guy. I said, well, it's funny you should say. I said, I need a passenger side mirror for a Tesla Model 3. And he said, what's your VIN number? So I gave it to him, and sure enough, a couple weeks later, a brand new mirror shows up at my house. And I said, well, send me an invoice. He said, dude, don't worry about it. You took care of me. And I was like, well, that's cool. A few weeks later, found out he had been diagnosed with stage 4 colorectal cancer. And somebody sent me his GoFundMe link. And I'm like, there's where the money goes. So I closed his GoFundMe out with it.
Oh, wow.
So now those are the things I get to do with the money we raise.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
I can't think, you know, I doubt there's anybody in this country, in this world, that hadn't had a run-in with somebody in their family or friend, you know, that's had cancer of some kind. So where can people donate to that?
We have a link on my website, craigcampbell.tv. Like if you on the tabs up top, there's a tab for the Kenny Campbell Foundation. You can donate there, or come to the cornhole tournament. We have the cornhole tournament every year during CMA Fest. It's a lot of fun. I love
a lot of cool people.
Yeah,
having a good time.
It's a good event, and I'm very proud of what we've built I mean, we've been doing it for 12 years, and it's just turned into something really cool. So that's you know, go to the website, you can find something there, or you know, come to Nashville and come to the cornhole tournament.
Yeah. Well, other than running a coffee shop or two, nowadays, musically, are you fully independent or
100%?
How is that?
We love it, you know, and now, like, you know, I don't get the access to certain things that major labels get, but at the same time, there's a lot of people that are being super successful without record labels.
Right. Yeah.
And so that's what we're doing. We just and I'm back to having fun with it. You know, being signed to a record label is exhausting, dude. Like you have these dreams and you have these ideas and you're a creator and you're like, hey, I want to do this, and then you go to the head of the label and he's like, no, we're not going to do that. And it's like, man, it just takes all the wind out of your sails. And he's like, well, like for instance, when Outskirts of Heaven died on the chart, I was like, well, if that song didn't work, what song will work?
Yeah.
So I was creatively in a messed up space in my head. But now, man, being independent, I do whatever I want, whenever I want, and I got a little small team. We're lean and mean, and we're mighty, and I compare it to, you know, being a speedboat and against major labels like a cruise ship.
Yeah.
Like we can zip, zag, we can spin around, we can go the other way, you know, and it takes them a full ocean to turn around.
Yeah. Well, I know a lot of young artists and stuff listen and get advice from people. It seems today with streaming and social media that independent might be the ideal way to go. What as somebody who's been in both, what would you say about that?
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head, man. It's I never thought that being a content creator would be part of my job description. You know, all I wanted to do was sing and write and play songs and stand on stage and do that thing. But social media that's just where people are finding new music. They're finding new artists, new everything when it comes to music. So there's avenues for that, and that's what I get asked all the time. You know, give me some advice, and my advice is if you have some spare change laying around, then you know, just invest in social media, marketing, spend your money there, but you don't need a record. I mean, a record deal essentially is a bank. I get it. You know, there's people that need financial support when it comes to creating stuff, and and I understand all that.
Yeah.
But if you can get by without signing with those guys, man, there's ways to do it. You know, social media, marketing, and just try to go viral.
Yeah. I see a lot of artists, complaining about, now we have to do social media. I just want to sing, and Waylon, and could you imagine Waylon or Hank, doing social media and stuff? And I get that. I get it. But to me, it's a great way to connect with fans as an artist.
Absolutely. You know, probably 4 years ago, or just right after the whole COVID thing, I leaned into social media. I had kind of stiff-armed it. I'm like, I'm not doing that. That ain't me. Especially when they were doing all them dances and stuff on TikTok. It's like, that I am not doing that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And my manager was like, well, we need to do something. And I was like, well, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
And I don't like singing into my phone. It's odd to me.
Yeah.
Even though I have and I will. She said, well, I think you're a pretty funny dude. She's like, well, let's lean into the humor.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm listening. I said, but even then, I got 2 teenage girls that are volleyball year round, and I'm touring, and I'm got this place. And I was like, I don't have time. Like we were talking about earlier, I don't have time to do the editing and the
Right.
and the capturing and the. So she said, how about this? How about I find us somebody that'll come capture it and edit it, but it'll still be your content. It'll be you. It'll be your ideas, but just somebody that's doing the behind the scenes. I said, if you can do that, I'm in. And so that's what I started doing on social media, as opposed to, because I feel like if I can grab somebody's attention by making them laugh, and then, hey, by the way, I'm a singer too,
Yeah.
that's what works for me.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's a good way for people to get to know you outside of the music.
Right.
Like you said, you can sing into the phone, but when you do the other stuff,
That's like, I didn't know Craig was, because my sense of humor is very dry and very it's sometimes if I were to be completely turned loose, it would not be good. My mama would not claim me anymore, I promise you. So I have to I dial it back, but but I want people to know that I play piano, I sing, I play some acoustic guitar, but I also like to have fun, and
yeah. Do you have any plans of new music coming out anytime soon?
oh yeah, man. I know you love the older stuff. I put out a record last year. I think it was last year. Yeah, called Class of '89.
Yeah.
And it was only 6 songs, but it was so well received that I went in and cut 7 more.
Oh wow.
And I'm wrapping it up. We got Wanted. Alan Jackson's on there. Got Sticks and Stones, Tracy Lawrence.
Yeah.
We got. It's some good songs. I'm pretty. I did 2 of a Kind, working on a Full House, because Garth. A lot of people don't realize Garth was part of the whole Class of '89. Like there was 4 of them: Garth, Clint, Alan, and Travis Tritt. And so I had it like, well, I got to put a Garth song on here, and which one am I going to do? And so we picked 2 of a Kind, and so I got that in the can, wrapping it up. So it'll be next year. I've also recorded a bunch of new songs recently. Some that's literally going to be called Craig's Country Ass Album, because it's stuff that I've had in my catalog for years that nobody, and including myself. I mean, I'm like, nobody's going to cut that because it is almost too country.
Yeah.
But now I feel like now's the time to do it, because the consumption rate for traditional country music is a lot higher than it has been in the last few years. So working on that, and it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear that. I'm going to put you on the spot before we get out of here.
All right.
What's your favorite, throughout your career, could be a road story, whatever, what's your favorite story that you've been involved in your career?
I'll tell you one that it just popped into my head because it's pretty awesome for me. And I'm gonna tell you something that a lot of people may or may not know, but I grew when I was being influenced with music, it was all early '90s. So from about 1988 to on is when. So even though I knew who Merle Haggard was, it wasn't until I moved to Nashville that I really started digging in and playing on Lower Broadway, that I really started digging into the Merle Haggard stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And became, spend any time with Merle's music, you're going to love it. You're going to fall in love with it. So that was me. So I had the opportunity to open for Merle.
Oh, wow.
And it was acoustic. I was acoustic. He was full band. It was in Tifton, Georgia. So I'm getting a car and drive down, me and just my guitar. But I have this piano that I take on the road with me that's in the shape of a bar. And on the top, I've had people sign it. So I'm like, this might be my one and only chance to get Merle to sign this piano top. So I actually lost money on this gig because the only way to get the piano to him was to pull it with a bus. And I wasn't making enough money to be taking no bus, but I'm like, I have to do this. So we loaded up, me, my tour manager, and my acoustic player, the three of us on a bus all by ourselves. We get down there, and I'm like, okay, I want to make sure that is as easy as possible to get Merle's signature. So I park it. I wheel that thing out, park it right beside the door going into the venue. And I told his tour manager, I said, here it is. Here's a Sharpie. If I'm not here, have him sign it. So we go off and we get some lunch, come back. Merle's whole band signed it.
Oh, wow.
And I did not want that at all. So I'm out here taking paint thinner, trying to get their names out because I got, Alan Jackson and Chestnut. I got my hero, people that I wanted to sign. So got their names off of it. But Merle finally, I think he was either he was going on stage. I had it. I mean, I basically blocked his path so that he would have to sign it. So that's a long story, but yeah, that's one of the coolest stories. And I did get his signature.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's awesome. Getting to open for Merle, I couldn't imagine.
And that wasn't long. That was he passed away not long after that. So it was pretty awesome for me.
Yeah. Well, Craig, I appreciate you letting me come out here to your coffee shop.
I'm glad you came. I appreciate you coming down here and come back anytime.
Yeah, it's a really cool place. If y'all are ever out here, Grindstone Cowboy. That sounds like an accident.
Hey, it happens.
But it's good to finally sit down with you. It's been a long time coming.
Absolutely.
But
appreciate you.
We'll be looking forward to that new music. Where can we find it at?
So up until the record comes out, and music is. If you look me up on Spotify, I'm or any of the streamers, I'm the first Craig Campbell that pops up, and then social media at Craig Campbell TV, TikTok is Craig Campbell Music, but I'm everywhere.
You work with Craig Campbell.
Yeah,
that's
it's so strange, dude. So here's what happened with that. Craig Campbell, the publicist, I've known him for years, but we never worked together because I thought, man, that would be confusing. So COVID hit, and I went separate ways from a lot of people, including the publicist that I had. And so we were still doing the cornhole tournament, and I said, I need somebody to help me with this tournament. And I just reached out, and Craig's always been great at what he does. And I just said, hey, will you help me? And he just, did what he did a great job, and like I knew he would. And so from then on, it's like, hey, let's just keep going. And so when he sends out press releases, it's a bit confusing. People are like, man, Craig Campbell can write a damn good press release. What's going on? He's doing it all. And so, but yeah, it's interesting to have a publicist with the same name.
Yeah, when he emails me, he in the subject it says Craig Campbell in parentheses, not him.
yeah. And we used to get phone calls for each other a lot, especially when I was singing demos. He'd get somebody, hey man, can you sing them 2 songs on blah blah blah? And so finally, I just said, hey man, here's my calendar. Just just look at if the day's open, just write me down. Tell them, yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah.
And then I would get calls for him. I got one call one time. John Rich called me, and he said, "Hey, man, just letting you know, I ain't doing no TV interview." I said, "What?" He said, "I ain't doing no TV interviews. Like, I'll do audio. Like, if they want to talk on the phone, I'll do that." And I said, Who do you think you're talking to right now?" He said, "Who is this?" I said, "This is Craig Campbell, the singer." He's like, "Oh, I'll call you back." You know? Then he just hung up. So we it's happened a few times.
Well, Craig, this has been fun. Been great catching up with you, and we're gonna be looking forward to that new music for sure.
Yeah, I'll make sure you get the advanced copies.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
I'm looking forward to it. But y'all be looking out for that new music and stream Craig's music. Outskirts of Heaven.
Go get it. Yeah, check it out.
But we appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you, brother.